Hello everyone, welcome to Jolly Molly TV. Today we have a very special unboxing. It has to do with the Main Street Celebration bench pillow / wall hanging project that we're doing. I've been reading a lot about the challenges that people have been having with the fairy lights, installing the fairy lights into this project. And so I got the fairy lights out and I did a test run on a piece of fabric. I stitched out the eyelets from one of the blocks and I punched out the holes and I tried to work with these fairy lights. They're really pretty and I love fairy lights. But after I got through, I realized that a lot of the comments that I've been seeing in the Facebook groups from people that are working on this project, a lot of the comments were true. What we have to do with the fairy lights is literally glue them into place. They will not stay in the eyelet holes. They come out, and I can imagine you've got this wall hanging quilted, it's hanging on the wall, and unless you've glued the fairy lights in, they are just not going to stay in place. Plus, I realized that you really can't wash the wall hanging or pillow with the fairy lights in them. And if you have to glue them in place, it's impossible to wash the item. And even turning them on and off, I would have to have envelopes type closure on the back so I could get to them to replace the battery. And if the light strand goes dead, you've got a glued in strand of lights to try to unglue and take out and replace. So, long story short, I've decided not to do the fairy lights, but I'm going to do something that's in this box. Okay, I have some of the supplies, but I realized I did not have all the colors that I need, and knowing that I'm going to be doing more of these projects, I went ahead and stocked up. Now, what did I stock up on? Crystals! Aren't they pretty? Okay, Thread Art is one of my favorite companies. They have very pretty rhinestone crystals that are in various different sizes that are almost as pretty as Swarovski crystals at a fraction of the cost. Now, if I want to do a show quilt, I will probably use Swarovski crystals. But for something that's going to be hung up on a wall or be sat on and be laundered, these are so pretty when we get them out of the package and actually put them on the project. They sparkle, like I said, almost as much as the Swarovski crystals do. So I went ahead and I bought a whole bunch of sizes that I need. So let's just dump them out and see what we've got. Woohoo! Like I said, I stocked up because I know I'm going to be doing this project and I'm going to be doing more of the Kimberbell projects. So we're going to need more crystals. Ooh, 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 ooh. AB. I am in love. Look at this. I'm in love. And of course you can't really see them all in their entirety because the package is a little clouded. But trust me, when we get there, they're gorgeous. When we get to them and I put the crystals on the wall hanging, it's going to sparkle and shine. Okay, well, let's start with the applicator wand. This is also by Thread Art. This is a hot fix wand. And these are all hot fix crystals. So there's a little bit of glue on the back of each one that when you use this applicator wand and you put it down, it heats up the crystal and the glue and it secures it to your fabric. And it comes with different size ends for different size crystals. So this is something that you definitely want to have in your collection. So these are all hot fix. So what we're going to do is we're going to bling this Main Street Celebration project with all different sizes and red, white, and blue crystals all over this thing. And the sky, I could just see maybe even some sashing too. Don't want to overdo it, but I will definitely want to bling it up. So there's different sizes of the rhinestones I got in this collection. Basically the SS16 is a good size, which I could see as the center of the fireworks, or maybe even an SS20, which is a larger size. So I got clear crystal. They have a set, so I got the 16s. I got the 12s. I got some, oh, these are metallic. These are silver metallic. I think that would be really pretty on there too. So it's like a crystal, but it's actually silver metallic on top instead of the crystal. Okay. Oh, this is really pretty. Squirrel. I got pink metallic. Those are gorgeous. They have them on their website in individual packages and as sets. And it's actually cheaper to buy a set, which is what I did. So there's the size SS6 crystal AB. Those are really small. I'm envisioning these around the firework. You know, as the thread goes out from the center of the fireworks. I got smoky topaz in preparation for Halloween. So I actually think I bought a patriotic set. I bought a metallic set. And I bought kind of like a holiday set. So that I thought would be a good coverage of the basic colors of crystals that I would need. These are gorgeous. This is SS10 Light Siam. Gorgeous. Okay, we have more crystal AB. I'm in love. SS10s. Same in the SS16s, slightly larger. This I thought was a good multicolor mix. Blues, coppers, oranges. I think the copper is a topaz. Red, green. And then I have some more light Siam in the SS20s. Ooh, this must be the I did buy a Valentine's Day set. This is a Valentine's Day set. This is a fuchsia pink. And this is a rose pink. SS16. That's the Valentine's set. Teeny tiny SS6 in the crystals. Crystal. We have blue, which is a sapphire blue in a 20. We have more crystal ABs in a 20. Really big crystals. This is a SS34. Those might be too big for this project, but maybe not. We'll have to see. We will have to see. This is crystal size 8s. My crystal set. Crystal size 10s. And crystal size 30s. See, what I envisioned on the fireworks is to use different types, or excuse me, different sizes of the rhinestones to cut into graduating. So you start with a large in the center of the firework, and then you spread out and you go smaller as you do that. This is a 20. Ooh, here's the Siam and a 6. I definitely see this size as the outburst of the fireworks. Here's a 20. I got a crystal set, and then some of the crystals came with the patriotic set. I'm sorry, this was a 20. This was a size 16, and this is a 16. And then this was the smoked topaz. Isn't that fun? Can you guys see them all? Yay! I love bling. Love this. So I got this literally at, I even want to say, a quarter of the cost of what it would cost in Swarovski crystals. But if you're doing something that is, like I say, a show quilt, or something that is literally large, like a paper piece quilt or something, and you spent hours and hours and hours and hours on it, then I would say it's definitely worth investment, in my opinion, of the Swarovski crystals. But if I'm going to be something where it's going to be laundered, it's going to be a pillow, these I highly recommend as a very close, affordable equivalent to Swarovski crystal. Just know that they're not Swarovski crystal, but they are very blingy, very shiny. Look at that AB. I see AB fireworks in our future. I really do. So this may become a blinged out project. We're just going to have to wait and see, huh? So here is my haul from threadart.com in preparation for the red, white, and blue fireworks blinging we're going to do for the Main Street celebration. So if you are a little intimidated by the fairy lights or want to launder your project, then I would recommend just collecting some, you don't have to do all this, but collecting some colors for the crystals, and let's bling up the project instead of having to do with the fairy lights and gluing the fairy lights and everything. But I'm thinking this bling project is going to be perfect for my Main Street wall hanging. So now what I did was I took all those crystals out of the packages and I put them into little plastic containers, and then I cut off the size and I put it in there for now. I might tape them on the top of the container, but right now that way I can see. And I've chosen for this project, I've chosen the clear crystal, the sapphire blue, and the light cyan red. I love the crystal AB, but when I put it on there, it was just, I think, a little too much. Not that a bling is too much, but I liked the look of the crystal better, the clear versus the AB. The AB is gorgeous, but it had too many colors that were shining out of it, and I really liked the look of just the clear, the blue, and the red for this project. So that is what we're going to do. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to start with just doing the eyelets on each of the blocks, because I want to do all the crystals of one size at the same time, because this wand, which is very hot right now, has different size ends for different size crystals. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bling all of the eyelets here in blue, and then put some of the same size in the center of the fireworks. And I'm going to do all 9 blocks the same with just those crystals. All right, you guys ready? All right, let's fast forward and let's bling these blocks up. So the first size I'm going to use is the blue, and we're going to use SS20 because I think that's a really good size for the center of those eyelets. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go. So it looks like the 10 seconds isn't long enough, so I'll hold it for about 15 seconds. Let's try this one. Put it in place. Yeah, 15 seconds will do it. Okay, so we're done with the blue. It's really hard to see, but aren't they pretty? Okay, little trick of the trade. Hold it down for 15 seconds, but make sure you don't accidentally put your finger over one as you're going to the next one, because it's hot until it cools down. Yeah, it's been a while since I've blinged. Aren't they pretty? Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to go back here. I'm going to put this on the stand because this is very, very hot. And now I'm going to get out the next color. I'm going to do the clear SS20s, and I'm going to put them in the center of the 2 white fireworks. So I need 2 of the SS20s. Okay, and we're going to put 1. Oh, that's going to be pretty. And then we'll put 1 in the center over here. Okay. Again, a little trick too is you don't have to have it 100% centered, because once you touch the crystal, you can move it into the spot where you want it and then hold it down for 15 seconds. Got it. Okay, on the stand. I'm going to move these other ones I'm not using out of the way for right now, so I'm just focusing on those 3. Okay, so now I think I want a red SS20 in the center of these multicolor fireworks. Let's see how that looks. Ooh, yeah, that looks pretty. And we'll do the on the other side as well. Isn't that pretty? Okay. Did I get all the blue eyelets? Yeah, okay, so now one other thing that a viewer mentioned is I forgot to cut out the center of the tire. So thank you so much for the one who mentioned that. And so now I'm just going to poke down and get this started. Gotta get a hole started so you can trim it out. So we'll fast forward through this. There's our tire. All right. Phew, that one was hard. Okay, so now I'm going to go and I'm going to do the other blocks the same way I just did this with the same size crystals. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. All right, so let's go and do the next block. Okay, isn't those pretty? And we're not done yet. Those are just the large SS20s that I want to put into place. So now I'm going to take a little break. We're going to unplug this iron. We need this to cool so that I can replace that tip with a smaller tip, and then we can add some of the crystal rhinestones in the fireworks. But you got to let this cool so you can replace that tip. So we'll be back after that. Okay, the tool is now cooled, so it's safe to touch it. And now we're going to switch things up a little bit. I need to change the tip because I'm going to be using different size crystals for each of these sections. So I tested it out, and what I like is an SS10 right here in these larger fireworks. Wouldn't that be pretty? So I've laid 3 of them out here. to say, yes, that looks good. This is an SS6. I tried that one over here. It's a little too small, but I love the look of those small ones scattered in this one. So what I'm going to do is on all of these fireworks that have a wider distance between them, I am now going to do an SS10, and I'm going to do this size on all the blocks. Then I'm going to come back and switch it out and do an SS6 on those type of fireworks. Luckily on this set, it actually tells you, it's kind of hard to see, but it tells you on the side that this is what you want to do to work on a 3mm 10SS, or if you want to use the 6. So these tips are very handy. I'm going to keep this one over here because I'll need that when I switch to those. But right now I'm going to focus on doing all these. I'm going to get a pair of tweezers as well to help position them and flip them right side up. And then I will use this to actually position at that point. How do I change the tip? I just untwist just like that and make sure I've got, that was a 16, I want a 10. And make sure I got the right one. All right, and just twist it back in. Make sure it's tight so it doesn't wobble when you're working on it. And then I'll plug it back in and we will be set to go for the next batch. So I'm going to keep fast forwarding through this because this takes a while to do, so you don't have to watch paint dry. But hopefully that'll give you an idea of what it takes to put these on and how it looks as it comes together. So let's plug this baby in and get back to work. Okay, now I know this is time consuming, so I'm not going to make you watch me do the whole project, but look at that firework. Look at how pretty. And mind you, that's just with the 10s, and then I'm going to go back and put the 6s at the end. But just to give you an idea of how this can look, isn't that gorgeous? All right, well, I'm not going to make you sit through as I do the rest of it, but I'm going to continue on. If you're doing the same project, continue on and just enjoy the process. Bling where you want to bling with the crystals that you have, and I will come back to you after I have all 9 blocks all blinged up with the fireworks. Isn't that amazing? I honestly think this is a much better process for all many reasons than the fairy lights. This will last. So I'm real happy with the way this is going to turn out. So I'll catch you back on your time in just a few minutes. And now we're back. Wow, this was a labor of love. It's totally worth the time and energy it took to do this. It does take a while. It took approximately 12 hours to bling all this, but the results are, to me, so much nicer, I think, than the fairy lights. It's going to last. I can launder it if I need to. And I think it's really, really super pretty. So let's take a look at what I did on these blocks. Hopefully you can see it. See how nicely the larger crystals and then the small ones at the end of the firework? Look at how pretty that came out. It's hard to see on camera. It's really, really pretty in person. And then look here, I did this little kind of a drop along those shoots of the fireworks. Isn't that pretty? I did a little crystal at the rocket spark. Pretty, huh? Yeah. You can do anything you want with this. That's the cool part of blinging with the crystals. And look at this. I did this firework. Shorter on one side, longer on the other. Gorgeous. And then this one, I did really cool. I did two different colors. I did the red and the clear crystals. Different lengths. Isn't that pretty? Just love the way that shines. All right, those are the first 3 blocks. Then we go to the next 3. Look at that. I did this one all red with the 2 sizes larger and then the smaller at the end. White sporadic on this one. And then love the little drip along those. Shooting fireworks there. Again, the little one on the rocket spark. Look at that one. Then I did a big red one there. And then the clear. And then another red one. Isn't that pretty? And then over here, white on that one. And then a red center and white on that one. Again, the rocket spark. Isn't this gorgeous? It's really hard to see and capture on the camera. It really sparkles in person. Can you imagine hanging this on a wall and then putting one of those little spotlights on it and just seeing the crystals just sparkle? Ooh. Okay. Last but not least, the last 3 blocks. Again, rocket spark, and then I did the red and the clear on that one. Ooh, look at the white. The white right there are the clears. And then more of that. It's kind of hard to hold. And then the hardest block of all with the most crystals. Look at this. The farmhouse. Did the drops, did the small firework, the large firework, and this one over here. That one took the longest because it has the most amount of crystals. But look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So I hope you had fun blinging up your blocks. I really like that. Now again, if you are interested in doing the fairy lights, there is a video I will link into the description below that you can reference that's really good on describing how to do the process on the fairy lights. You actually take the fire lights, stretch them out, and then you'll place them on the back side. You'll twist each little fairy light and then poke it through the eyelet holes and then use a hot glue gun and glue it. And then the video also shows you how to drape the wires and secure them between one eyelet and another. So I'll link that video in the description below in case you're still interested in doing the fireworks, maybe even for a future project. That's a good reference point. But look at that. I'm in love with it. All right, so the next step of this process is we're going to do the embellishments. We are going to get the buttons and the little flags and the mini quilt and the cording out from your embellishment kit. And let's start working on those little pieces and add one by one to these blocks. The reason we want to do that now is it's easier to sew the embellishments on when you're only dealing with 3 blocks sewn together. Once we start putting the rest of it together, it's going to be a little bulkier in trying to sew. And one other thing we're going to do, which I wanted to show you, if you still want to play with your crystals, you can bling the sashings that we did in the last video. I just put 1 large red and 1 small clear periodically in those little starbursts on all the sashings to give it just a nice subtle little bit of bling. Look at the blue one. I did a blue one, large, and then a small clear. Just to give it a subtle bling in between sashings, but to let the blocks do the speaking, so to speak. But I wanted to add a little bit of bling on the sashings as well. So let's work on the embellishments. We're going to add those to the blocks. Then in the next video, we will deal with sashings and more sashings and borders. And then you're going to be done. So we are almost done. So go grab your embellishments, your buttons, all the little flags, the little miniature quilt, your flexi foam, the components that are left in your embellishment kit, and let's get to work putting those on these blocks. Okay, so I've gathered all of the items from the embellishment kit that we have left to do. And the first thing I think we're going to work on are the buttons. Those are so super cute. Look at these. 6 adorable little buttons that we're going to add to these blocks. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've got some matching thread that will look really good showing on the top of these buttons. So I've gotten the brown for the fire hydrant. I'm going to use white on the gas station, the Dalmatian, and the little quilted pillow. The basket, I think, would look good with the orange because it's picking up this little orange little fabric there. And then for the kitty cat, I got a nice light brown, kind of a golden brown. And then, of course, the white for the other ones. So we're going to hand sew these on first. So get a hand sewing needle and get your threads out, and we'll be back here. Okay, I've set everything else aside. And let's start with the fire station. All right. Here we go. So we have a Dalmatian dog to add, and we have a little fire hydrant to add. Isn't that cute? Now, Kimberbell gives you recommendations on where to put these, but honestly, you can put them anywhere you want. There's no rule that says the Dalmatian has to go into that window, because I think I'm going to put mine dead center in that window. The fire hydrant looks really cute though between the clock. You could put it over here if you wanted to, but I think I will do that position for there. But the Dalmatian, again, you could put them in any little window you want. Whatever your heart's content. You could put them down here if you wanted to, but I think I'm going to sew mine right to the center window because I'm a doggy lover and dogs can go front and center in the middle there. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and hand sew just a basic button. They're a 2-hole button. Okay, so if you see here the Dalmatian, his holes are basically like his eyeballs. So coming up from the bottom is very difficult because you have to pierce this plastic window that we did on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-do the hole. I'm going to come down first. I'm going to position my hand sideways. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. And then approximately where I want the Dalmatian to be. And then I'm going to go down and poke through. Okay. So I just poked down and I'm going to pull the thread through my knot. I took my knot out so my knot wouldn't be on the top. But now I have a hole poked into the vinyl. Okay, so now I'm going to try to come back. There we go. Come back up that hole. Okay. So now that I can do that, I'm going to put a knot back in the bottom of my thread again. It's not easy at all to get through that vinyl, but it's kind of like when you drill a hole in the wall to put a screw in, sometimes you got to pre-drill the hole to make putting the screw in a little bit easier. Okay, so now I got the knot back. So now I can actually come back up, see where I am, go to the side, and then work my way back to that hole and come back up that hole. So that was on the right side, so I can slide the button on, and now I can sew the button as normal. So let's fast forward through and sew the button on. Okay, so I secured him on the back. Isn't he cute? Or she cute? It could be a girl dog too. Isn't that cute? All right, so the Dalmatian is on. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the fire hydrant and sew that button in place. And if you want, you can go ahead and you can sew the gas button on top of the gas station right there. And you can sew the little pillow quilts. Or, oh wait, the kitty cat first. Kitty cat first. Kitty cat can go anywhere. They have them on the stoop there. That's really cute. You can put them in front of the door. You can put them over here by the window. I think that's what I'll do. Then the little pillow quilt, you can sew right here on the bench. That's cute. And then back here on the truck, with that little pocket we made, you can just sew the little picnic basket coming out of the little bit diagonal of the truck. So go ahead and attach the buttons, hand sew them on, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, did everyone get their buttons sewed on? See this one? I did the kitty cat just to the left of the steps. This, the gas station button. And then I did the picnic basket. I just kind of put it right on top of the back of the truck. Then we've got, of course, you saw the fire station with the Dalmatian and the fire hydrant. And the last one was the quilted kind of a pillow. Instead of doing it off center on side, I put it dead center in the center of the swing. So those look great. All right, so now let's put those aside and let's work on these flag banners and the flag of your choice. You'll need this piece, and then you'll need this piece of the white glitter, because that's going to go on the back of this and also the back of the flag of your choice. So let's get those two items out. Okay, what I also got out, I got out my pressing station and my iron, because we're going to need that in a few steps here. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to carefully cut around the desired banner, and we want to leave a 1/8 inch of fabric around the design. So pick whichever one you'd like, and let's go ahead and trim it out and leave 1/8 of an inch around the design. We're going to be trimming that off later. We just want that so when we go to press, we have a little bit more room and we don't hit the glitter. But we will be trimming it eventually to the line, but for right now, trim it with a 1/8 of an inch of fabric around the outside. So now go ahead and trim out the flag of your choice. Same thing. We want to have a 1/8 of an inch of fabric around the outside. Now on your strip of glitter, there is a clear plastic coating on the top. We need to remove that, which sometimes is a challenging part of getting that corner. Ooh, I got lucky this time. All right, very carefully peel that back. Ooh, isn't that pretty? And peel that back. All right. Now we've got the glitter. We're going to turn the glitter to the back. Okay? And we're going to put the printed fabric right side up on the back. So this is the front of the glitter. This is the back of the glitter. And we just want to position that piece. See if you can see that there. Right on it. Okay, and kind of put it in the corner like I did. Right there. Now we're going to press it, but we got to be careful when we press this. We don't want to touch the iron directly onto the glitter sheet. So this is a little bit of a challenge. So I'm going to position it this way because I'm right-handed. And I'm not going to hold it down for very long. So I turned it to the side there. Now I'm going to try to hold it in place, but this is a big iron. If you have one of the smaller irons, that would be perfect for this. But in this case, I am just going to use the nose, and I'm going to just for a few seconds on each go over so that my bottom of the iron is not touching the back of the glitter. And that is adhering nicely. So I'm going to make sure this one's lined up, and I'm going to do the same thing with just the nose of the iron. Go over it again. And then we're going to go to the third one. Okay. And I'm going to check it and see if it's adhered nicely. It is. I'm going to do it one more time. Just a few seconds each. That looks good. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing. Yeah, it's adhering nicely. I'm going to do the same thing with the flag. Put the flag in this corner. And this one is a little bit easier because you don't have the exposed vinyl there. You can put it right on the corner. You don't have to be so particular because it's in the corner. And press it down. Oops, grab it. And I think that's it. That looks good. Looks really good. Actually has some of it. Yeah, it comes apart there. That's what happens if it touches that a little bit. So we don't want that. And that came off just a smidge. All right, we're good. Yeah, if it touches this, it actually will start to melt that. But luckily it's off on the side, so we are good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this bunting banner and the flag right on the outline. We did it! Yay! Okay, let's get ready for the next piece. I'm going to put this away, put that iron out, and we're going to get ready to do the little mini quilt. Isn't that cute? All right. Are you ready to work on the little mini quilt? All right, so the first thing we're going to do is get the 3 pieces we need. We need this panel. We need the flexi foam, and we need that small piece of blue fabric that we had in our baggies. So get that out. That's going to be the back of the quilt. So now we're looking at the panel, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut around the outside of this quilt panel. Now the seam allowance they've built in to this printed design. So we want to cut exactly on the edge of the printed quilt. Okay. So how is everybody doing? Everyone's feeling really confident at this point. You're doing so good. Do you realize that we are on the home stretch? We are almost done. And you are going to have the cutest project for either your house or your loved ones. I think it's just adorable, this project, and I can't wait to do the red, white, and bloom. That is coming up next. That is, it looks intimidating, but it's a big project, but it's not. You can do this. You realize what you guys have done with this project? Red, white, and bloom is just an extension of this. And we'll take it one step at a time, just like we did here. One step at a time. So now that I've got this all cut out, there's our little mini quilt. Okay, now what they want us to do is they want us to place this quilt top on top, right side up, on top of the flexi foam. And there really is no right or wrong side to it, so just pick a side. And then all it wants us to do is just to quilt. Do like a straight line design, doesn't have to be fancy. I put a regular foot on the machine. I took the 1/4-inch foot off, put a regular foot on, and I'm just going to do some straight stitch work. I'm not going to do anything fancy. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe do around this outside edge, the border. Nah, let's not do that. Let's do just in the middle. Let's just kind of go up, and then maybe we'll go across. Kind of separate the blocks a little bit with just a straight line. Let's just do that. So, foot up, put it in position. Get my foot pedal where it's supposed to be. Then you put your foot down, and then we're gonna just take a couple stitches, stitch backwards, and just do whatever you feel like. In this case, I'm just gonna do a straight line to the end of the border, back stitch. Okay, take that off, and we'll trim this thread so I can kind of see where we're going with this. Okay, so I got one. So now I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go across this, kind of separate the block a little bit. Same technique. And let's stop right there. Okay. This is just basically to give it a little bit of dimension, but also to make it look like a mini quilt. Trim your threads. Okay, so now I think I want to do over on this side, because this can kind of separate this block from this block. So let's do that. If it's not right on, that's okay. Mine's not perfect. Doesn't have to be. Does not have to be perfect. Nope. Alright, let's see. Anything else? Yeah, I think I will go around this outside edge a little bit. Give it a little bit more of a square look to it. Let's see if I can hit around the outside edge. I didn't do a back stitch. Oops. But I'm going to come around that way anyway, so I'll tack that in. Okay, needle down, and I'm going to turn it. And then I'm going to stitch. This actually has a needle position button. You can do that too. So it'll stop in the down position. Turn it. And do it again. But if it doesn't, you can always manually put your foot down and put that put the needle down. So then when it spins like that, back stitch. When it spins around, you can use the needle to pivot. I think that is a good little quilting job. Is that just do something, do whatever, you know, your little heart desires. It is not anything that's a right or wrong. Okay? So now that we've quilted it, now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim out the excess of this flex foam. Get it around the edge. Okay. So let's trim that up. Okay. That's good. And make sure the other side is good because a little bit on there. That's good. All right, let's put this aside. Okay, now we are going to be getting that back piece that we talked about, that blue back piece. And right side down, this one is obviously blue. It doesn't have a right or wrong, but yours might. So it's going to be right side down. And then I want to use my Clover Clips because I love these guys. Just to keep this all like little trimmed up. Line her up. Clover clip. Yeah, it wasn't lined up perfectly. Let's try this. And this. And another one. And another one. Okay, now it wants to stitch around the quilt with a 1/4 inch seam. So what I want to do is I want to switch the foot back out, take the regular foot off, and let's put our 1/4 stitch foot back on because we like this little nifty little foot. Makes our job a lot easier. Okay, so now we're going to stitch around side edges, but see, there's a problem here because this blue piece is a little bit bigger than the size of this quilt. So let's trim that up because that would cause us a little bit of a difficulty or a challenge when we were trying to do our 1/4 inch seam. Okay, I'm going to line this one up as well a little bit. There we go. So now I'm good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch a 1/4 inch seam around all the sides, but when I get around to where I started, I want to leave an opening because this opening is going to be where we're going to turn the quilt. And what I also want to do is which direction is the quilt going? Okay, let's look and see where the top of the quilt is. There's the top of the quilt. So what I want to do is when I have an opening, I want to try to pin it toward the bottom of the quilt. That's just my personal preference because I'm going to have to sew this together on top, and I really don't want that seam to be on top. I'd rather be it on the bottom. So I'm going to start on this bottom of the quilt, go all the way around, come back over, stop, and leave an opening so that I can turn this. And because it's flexi foam, and it's going to be kind of big, I want to allow at least, say, an inch opening to be able to turn this. So that is the top. So this is where I want to start. And verify that's the bottom. Yes, that's the bottom. Okay, so again, let's stitch a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to raise my foot because it needs to come up a little. It's a little bit fluffy. There, I'm going to start down here. Again, go all the way around and then leave an opening. So I'm going to put my needle down if you have it. And I'm going to back stitch a little bit. And then I'm going to go forward. And then you're going to have to eyeball the 1/4 inch, but when in doubt, when you pivot, the fabric should come right up against that guide. Go ahead, sew. Right up to about a 1/4 inch. Pivot. Yes, I landed. Now, if I didn't, I would pivot back. So either go forward or back, and then pivot again to get that fabric lined up. So I'm going to keep sewing. Eyeball right about there. Pivot. Okay, right up against the fabric. We're not at the end yet, so keep going. Eyeball. Pivot. Now, we want to stop right about here. So you're going to stitch just a little and then back stitch. Okay, and then needle up and off it goes. Isn't that cool? So now we have room to get in there and turn this. So I want to get my excess threads off first. Try to be as neat as possible. There we go. Because this stuff will be inside forever. And you don't want it to be messy in there. This side not so much, but I still want to get some of these longer ones off. Just so that it's a little bit more neat and tidy, and there won't be threads that could perhaps come out. Honestly, this is like one of my least enjoyable things, because it's like I like the sewing, but I don't like the cleaning up part. Right? Like, who does? I know. But it needs to be done. So then you have nice, clean work. And no one may know it, but you'll know it. Okay. Trim off some of those excess. Okay. All right. So now we're going to clip the corners. So let's use these other scissors. You don't have to clip it a lot. You don't want to clip it to the point where you're cutting off the threads. You just want to clip it like that on all the corners, because that will give it a little less bulk in the corner for when you go to flip this inside out. There won't be so much in the corner when you try to score out those corners. So now you're ready. This is the hard part and potentially the fun part, where we're going to turn this inside out. Okay, so I grab the blue. This will tell you whether you left enough space or not to flip this. Okay, it's enough for my finger, but it's a tiny quilt anyway, little finger puppet. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to go up, grab a corner, use my thumb, and then gently, very gently, struggle to get my finger back out and that corner of the quilt. It's a little miniature quilt. It's getting turned inside out. Now, because I have big fingers, I am going to go ahead and bring out my turner tool. This is a RNK Turning Tool. It is the best thing since sliced bread. I'll leave a link in the description below if you need to purchase one of these. This is nice because it's a nice, fairly heavyweight metal, but the end has this really nice round ball that doesn't poke holes in your project. So kind of get the direction that I'm going to go, and I'm going to start using this as a tool because my fingers are large and it becomes a challenge at times to get this turned inside out. Even if it's a big project. I mean, there are times where it is just a real challenge to get things turned inside out. And for some reason, the smaller they are, the harder it is. But you got this. Just going to birth persistence. So there's the opening, and this is what still has to go in. So gently use the turning tool. Don't jab it. Do it real gently, and see it starting to come into the right direction, because this is thinner than this. So it kind of helps push the stuff in and turn it inside out as we go. Isn't that turning out to be really cute? This is the smallest quilt I've ever done, right? All right. So now that we've got the bulk of it inside out, now we can start working on making it pretty and getting the corners out. So again, where this tool is really handy because it has that rounded edge. So it goes in and you just kind of push it along the outside edge, push it gently in the corner, and then go down the next edge. And it's pushing all the fabric up and through so that it's a nice smooth edge. Look at that. Okay, and then we come in the corner And do a little poke, a little push on that. Come down. It's looking good. Flip it over. Start back in this corner. Run the ball around into this corner. Gently push. Very gently push. Needs a little. There we go. And then come straight up. Then we got this one more corner to do. Yeah. That looks good. Doesn't that look good? Nice little cute quilt. And I go in and I'll do it one more time. Just for good measure. Make sure I've got everything nice and straightened out. And we do. That looks good. Again, RNK Turning Tool. A really, really important tool to have in your tool stash. Okay, so now we're looking at this. This is the opening. What we're going to do is we're going to turn it just a little bit on the inside. Put the extra fabric in there. Like so. And actually, a little bit more on the back. Like so. And then I'm going to use a clover clip to keep that in place. Okay, isn't that cute? So now what we want to do is we need to sew this shut. Okay, so your option is to just sew a small piece in the middle, or you could sew the whole thing. Knowing that we only have to sew 1 inch, but it's a small quilt, you need to sew at least that much. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a stitch all the way from that end, so I make sure I catch it all the way down there. So I'm going to do another clover clip. So I have 2. So when I take the pressure off the one, it's still going to catch it. And I don't want to do a 1/4 inch. So let's take this foot off. I actually want to do less than that. So it's like just on the edge. Okay, 1, back stitch, take off the 1, and this one we might actually need to give it a little bit of help. There we go. There we go. Sometimes it's very hard to get started. And I saw this coming out a little bit, so I wanted to stop it and check it. But we're okay. I wanted to stop because if the fabric was coming out, then I was going to have to start over again anyway. But after having to give it a little bit of help there to get started, it's still all right. So now what I want to do is make sure everybody's tucked in. And we're going to go back and start right where I was. Back stitch. And then go forward. Make sure the fabric still stays in there. And to the end. There, we got it. All right. Like I said, sometimes it's hard to get it started because the fabric's right at that start point and the feed dogs have to grab it. So sometimes you have to push it and sometimes you have to lift up the foot and move the fabric over to get it going. Isn't that cute? That is really cute. One more little trim. All right. So we have just finished the quilt. Isn't that adorable? So now I'm going to get out the general store block and we're going to sew on our general store sign that we made earlier in the series. Okay, so get out your general store sign. Isn't that a cute block? All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to center this sign where we want it on the block. And we're going to tape it in place. Now, I don't have my embroidery tape with me, but I just have a piece of washi tape. And I'm just going to use that to secure it. I'm not going to sew through this tape, but I'm just going to use it to secure where I want the sign to go. That's all I'm doing. I'm going to hold it up. See here with the... It's not a great hold, but it's enough that it's going to allow me to sew this end and secure it in place. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. Double check that it's centered. All right, so I want to put black thread in the top of my machine because I want it to match. I'm going to literally stitch. Show you this with my little point here. I'm going to stitch right here on that black on the side of the sign, and then literally it's going to disappear. You're not going to see that there is a connection right there. So let's put black thread in the machine. Okay, so now I've got black thread in my machine, and I'm just going to double check. Make sure I'm lined up where I want to be. Then now I'm going to stitch right here on that side of the sign. Again, make sure it's straight. Put the foot down, inch it so it's going to be right there, and then put your needle down and realize, no, that's where I want to be. Okay, that's where I want to be. So we're going to just make just a couple stitches. One more. And then we're going to go back. And then we're going to go forward. One more and go back. And that's it. Okay? We're going to lift it up. Trim it off. There we go. And we've got that side tacked down. Okay, let's move this under. Let's trim off the threads. Okay. Kind of hard to see, but there we go. So it looks like it's part of that sign. Okay. This saves you from having to do hand sewing. You could hand sew it down too, but this is a way that you can do it with a machine and not have to do so much hand sewing. Okay, and then this one I'm just going to stretch it out, not too tight. That looks good. Kind of make sure it's straight. And do the same thing with this side. Okay, I'm going to put the needle down. Nope. There we go. Needle down. That looks good. You know what? I don't think it's quite lined up. It must have moved a little. I want to try to get it straight. Line it up again. Okay, nope. It's got to come over just a hair. All right, that's good. Let's take a stitch. One more. Back. Forward. Back. That should do it. All right. So let's clean up the threads. There we go. Oops. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. What do you think? Yeah. Little kitty cat. That's cool. And it's attached on both sides. If you wanted to attach it on this side, you could, but I kind of like the three-dimensionality of it sticking out. And in the instructions, they only tack it down on the side too. So I think that looks cute. What do you think? You did it. Okay. All right. So the next step, my little picnic button is so cute. So the next thing I want to do is attach the flag to the top of the fire station. So let's get our fire station block out. So now this flow flag that we made earlier, it has a little glitter on the back, that is going to go on the flagpole. Okay? And what the instructions actually say is just to tack it down at the top. Actually, see if I can do this here. Tack it down on this edge and tacking down on this edge. So it kind of has a almost ability to fly if it wanted to, and they could see the back of the glitter on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave black thread in on the top because the flagpole is black. I know they stitch it down by the white, but I think if I just do a tack down right there on black and a tack down right there on the edge, that would be good. So let's give that a try. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the block under, kind of roll this up a little bit. I actually want to sew the flag on this way because with the feed dogs the machine goes this way. So I am just going to do literally a couple stitches to tack this down. Similar to the technique we just did for the general store sign. I'm going to put that down. Okay, it looks good. I'm just going to take one stitch, back up, another stitch, forward, back up. Okay, and we'll go do one more forward, one more back. Okay, then that looks good. All right, so let's trim that off. We'll get that out of the way. Then we're going to do the same thing for the bottom. Foot down. Nope, goes up a little bit. Right there. Stitch backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards. I'm doing 3 on this one because it's such a smaller stitch area. Yeah, I think that's cool. All right, so let's clean it up and see what it looks like. All right. I chose black because it would blend in more with the pole. And I think that looks good. All right, let's see. Right there, how do we do? Yay, okay, didn't do the bottom. It did the top, it didn't do the bottom. That's how we check it. Okay, so let's go back. Yeah, it didn't catch. And let's do the bottom again. Not a problem. Come right in. Needle down. All right, here we go. Back. Forward. You know the routine. Back. Forward. Back. Yeah, let's see if that took. Yes, that took. Yeah, because I was doing such a short stitch area there, I was really short and just didn't quite grab it. But that's not a big deal. We go back and we fix it. Yeah, and trim that up. So we bring that forward and look at that. Now we have a flying flag. Look at that. Yay! Isn't that cute? I know I say cute a lot. I'm sorry. It just is adorable. I can't help it. Okay, so now we're going to do the same type of thing with this banner that we did. And that goes on the general store block. So let's get the general store out. Okay. So now this is going to go across the top. Similar to that. Okay. Actually, you can put it up a little bit higher. So it's touch to touch with the roof. That's cool. So now we're going to put this on. Now it says to hand tack it, but I'm going to do the exact same thing I just did to that flag and use the machine. But this time I'm going to put white thread in the top of the machine. Okay, so the same type thing, but this time I don't even think I have to tape it down. I'm just going to turn the general store block upside down, and I'm basically just going to center it to the point where it is touching one side of the roof line and then the other side of the roof line. And I'm just going to tack this down. Then when I'm done tacking it, I will be able to add the bows on either side. So I'm going to take another little piece of this washi tape just so I can make sure it is centered in the middle and kind of doesn't move. Okay, so now I'm going to just take on a corner, needle down, make sure I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to tack down the edge. Like 3 stitches, back, tap forward, back. If you go over one like I just did, it's not going to matter because the bows are going to be on top and they're going to hide it. One nice thing that the bows are going to do, besides look all cute and pretty, is they will hide this tack down. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. Kind of make sure it looks still centered. If I were hold it up this way, does it look good? Yeah, it looks good. Okay. Come back through. Go at an angle. And tack it down. Back. Forward. Back. And we'll do forward. 2 times or 3 times, whatever you feel comfortable with. That is more than enough to keep it secured and to lock those stitches in place. Clean it up. Take the tape off. And that looks good. Okay, so let's get the cording out of the package, and we're going to make little bows to put on each side. Okay, I am confessing I am not the best bow maker. So I had to take a needle to use as a foundation to tie a bow on. But it's okay. I think I have one. So I'm going to quickly sew it on using white thread. I'm going to sew it up and down so it kind of secures that knot. And I'm just going to sew it on to one end of the bunting and hope it stays in place. And then I will trim it up later. So let's go right there on the end. And it can be a little wonky. That's okay. It'll give it personality. Right? Right. But the main goal is to get it on that corner with the center, and I'm going to needle down, just do, like I said, a couple stitches, so it's like I'm hand tacking this down. And the white will look good because it's red and white twine, or red and white cording. Okay, we're good. Oh, trim it up. We have a bow. Phew! Like I said, I am not the best bow maker. So this is good enough for my books. Yes. Okay, and I'm just going to make it a little long for now. And I'll come back and I'll trim them up later. So keep doing the bows. We're going to do one more bow and sew it to the side of that. I have another bow. Whew! And like I said earlier, I use a needle because when you tie your shoes, you do the over-under. And so I actually use the needle as the foundation to do the over-under on and then build the bow on top of that because it's small. So that's how I did the bow. So now we're going to do the same thing. Very carefully, don't lose the bow. Okay, so come over here. And I'm going to attach this bow. Same thing. I'm going to tack it down right on the corner there. Right there. Alright. Now, up a little bit more. Needle down. That's where I want to be. Make a couple stitches. Tack that center of that bow down. You know the routine, forward and backwards. Okay. Carefully. All right. I think it worked. Ah. I can embroider all day and it comes to a simple bow and I'm like, oh man, but we got it. See? Persistence. We got it. Okay, let's trim that one up a little bit there. Okay, we got plenty left to do the others. So let's go ahead and see how long we want these. I think somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. That's good. Somewhere around right about there. Can you see? Sorry, I'm off on the side. Just making them whatever length that you want. Just so they're short enough to be cute. Not hanging down too long with the windows. We did it! We have 2 bows. Yay! So now let's do the same thing on the farmhouse quilt. Okay, let's get the farmhouse out. Okay, so on this quilt block, we are going to take the red and white twine or cording, and we're going to stretch a piece from here all the way over to the lowest tree branch, anywhere on there that you'd like. This is where this cute little quilt is going to hang. So we want it pretty sturdy. We don't want it to droop a whole lot or sag because the quilt's going to hang on it. So I'm going to do mine pretty tight. It will stretch out over time. So if I did it something like this, from the end of this farmhouse over to here, it'll sag in time, and then it'll have the cute little clothespins and the quilt can hang from it. This is technically supposed to be a clothesline. So you want it to be kind of straight, but not super straight. So let's go ahead and we're going to tack this end onto the corner of the farmhouse. And actually I want to trim it up. It's a little frayed. So let's trim that up. And then we're going to position it, white thread on the top. Again, it's going to be covered by another bow. So the white thread will be fine. Try to make sure it's still on the end of the house. Needles down, it's too far away. So I need to go up a little bit more. And then it moves. So let's do, there we go. Okay, and a little bit more. All right, that's where we want to be. This one I'm going to go like 4 times because it's just thread on thread. So I want to make sure it's really secure, and then the bow will go on top of that, securing it even more. Okay. All right. You can never be too secure, right? Right. Okay, so we've got that tacked down. So let's just kind of leisurely go over here. Not super tight, but we're just going to let it lie as it lies. And then we're going to come over here. Actually, the best way of doing that is this way. Sometimes you got to try to finagle a little bit. Roll it up, and again, don't stretch it too tight, but just kind of see where it wants to go. And then we're going to go with that. And we're going to put it on the tree branch. Needle down, too far away, go up a little more. That's good. And we're going to tack it down. And we'll do one more. Okay. And lift up and around. and cut it. Okay. This one has visible white, but that's okay because, like I said, the bow is going to cover that spot. So we're going to trim that off. We still got plenty of that cording left. That's good. I like that. Okay, so now we're going to do 2 more bows. All right, so make 2 more bows and we'll be right back. Okay, so I made 2 more bows and now I'm going to attach them to the block just like we did the other ones. Oops. Just like we did the other ones. That's good. And just tack. Couple stitches and back. Okay. Come through. That looks good. And then I'm just going to go ahead and attach the other one. And then we'll trim everything up. You know the routine. Needle down. Looks good. And a couple back. And back. Okay. You can always tack them down by hand as well. I just always tend to try to do a machine if I can. Oops, sorry. So it's a little bit more secure. Plus to me it's a little bit easier. Okay, let's trim that one out. Cool. Alright, let's make these a little shorter. One there. One there. And make this one a little shorter. There we go. Cute. How about that? That looks good. Okay, we have to do this now. You know what the next step is. The baby quilt. Baby quilts. And the cutest little clothespins I think I've ever seen. They're so cute and small. If I can get them out of the package. Here we go. Oh, they're so cute. All right. So now we just attach them. So if you can see this. There we go. Open them up. Oh. Isn't that fun? Let's look at that. See, and then it hangs perfectly. Not too taut, not too droopy. That's cute. You guys did it. Okay, we have attached the mini quilt. Yay! All right, so you know what's left? What's left are the balloons on the tree. So we're going to get the balloon blocks out. This is one here. Actually, do this. Right. Okay. So we got the bicycle here. And now we're going to do the same thing and use our balloons that we made earlier. Isn't that cool? Red, white, and blue, and we have 2 sets. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we kind of want to arrange how we want the balloons to be. That would be cute to have the 2 on top and the 1 underneath. And then we have little strings. So you can set them out as far as you want away from the bike. I kind of like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack down each one. So I'm going to take this off first. Set them aside. That's roughly where I want the red one to go. And just to be on the safe side, so to speak, I'm going to put red thread in the top of the machine. So now I just want to tack this down at the base of the balloon. Okay, so I've got red thread up on the top. I'm just going to tack this down at the base of the balloon. And one more pass. Forward and back. Okay. Okay, that looks good. Trim everything up. And now I can take the tape off, actually. Alright, now since I already have red thread on the top of the machine, I'm going to take this block away for a second because there's another tree block that also needs a red balloon. So we're going to pull that one out. That one I've attached to the general store. There's the other tree. So I'm going to do the same thing with the red balloon I have. See, where do I want that to be flying? I think that would be cool flying way up there. I'll do this one, the blue, and then the silver. Yeah, with the strings going that way. So let's go ahead and position this one flying away from the bike. And let's tack this one down as well. Again, just at the base of the balloon. There we go. Forward and back, just a couple stitches. Okay. See, by doing it that way, I didn't have to change the thread up on the top as often. And I am all for that. Okay, so we got that one done. So now let's change the thread in the top of the machine to the blue, and we'll stitch down the blue balloons. So let's just put the blue, how about over there? Does that look cute? Okay, I figure out which way is easier to sew. Sew with the least resistance, which is this one. That would look cute. Okay, so let's go ahead, put the foot down. There we go, right on it. Let's sew it down. You know the routine, front and back, front and back. All right. Oh, that looks cute. Okay. I like that. Let's switch it up. Put that block aside. And let's do the same thing to this one. Okay. Get the other blue balloon. And this one, I want to do the blue this direction. Spice it up. Do something different. So let's have that one going off this way. Okay. Put down and attach. Okay. Isn't this turning out really cute? I know I say cute a lot, but it is. Okay, so let's put white thread in the top of the machine so we can do the silver balloons. Okay. We want them to fly away that way. So path of least resistance is this way. Right? Right. Okay. Nope, not quite. There we go. And look how cute. All right. Trim those up. And we're going to do the same thing with this block over here. Like so. And the silver balloon we want to put off to the right. Okay, position, put down right on. Okay, back, forward. You got this routine down. You're good at this now. Yes, you are. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we can't just have balloons flying over here without anything attached to it because they're going to fly away. So we want to take our twine and we want to run the twine from there to under the seat, just under the seat. And I'm actually going to put black thread in there so it'll kind of blend with the back of the seat. So I'm going to put black on the top of the machine. Kimberbell's instructions has us putting down the balloons first, tacking those down, and then adding the cord or the string. And in reality, they should have done it reverse. We can still make this work, and I'll show you how to do it. But this should have been tacked down either before or at the same time of doing the balloons, not after the balloons are already tacked down. Because you want the cord to come underneath or from the batch of balloons, right? At least that's what, in theory, what we want. So go ahead and trim. We've got that there. Go ahead and trim 3 pieces of twine that'll take you from the balloons over to the end of the bike. Okay, so that's the one I want to go from the silver. That's the one that's going to come from the blue. Okay, and then the red one, we're going to kind of mix in the middle there and also go to the bike. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've got thread here. You know what I'm going to do? I've got enough. I'm going to tack this down right here with a little bit of white, as small as I can do. And then I'm going to do another bow up here. I've got enough to do a bow up and a bow at the bottom, is in addition to the other blocks. So I'm just going to hide it with a bow. But they should have had us put those down first before the balloons are tacked down. So we're going to make this work. It'll be fine. We're going to make it work. So I'm just going to very gently tack these down right here. And then we're going to cover it with a bow. Okay, I got 2 of the 3, and then I'm going to come up, and then I'm going to do the one up here. Okay. Did I get them? I got them. And if you miss one, don't worry about it. Just go back and tack it down again. All right, can you see it all right? Okay, so now I'm just going to bunch these all together, and I'm going to tack this down right behind the bike seat. But oh, I want to put black thread up on top. Black thread up on top because it'll blend in with the bike seat. Make sure it's in a little bunch. Let's just sew this down here at the bottom. I'm going to twist it a little bit to help keep them together. Okay. We got it. Let's make sure we got it. Yeah, we got it. Okay, get the black thread out of the way. Alright, so this one came undone. Not a big deal. I'm going to switch back to white thread up on top, and I'm going to tack that one back down. Not a problem. We can do this. So definitely a suggestion to Kimberbell is to have the cords tacked down at the same time, if not before, we do the Mylar balloons. Then the balloons will truly look like they're coming on top of the cord, not the cord on top of the balloons. Right? Right. All right. So I've got that threaded. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to tack down that little rogue balloon cord there. A little bit more. Okay. Okay. Now we got it. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing for the other block, and then we're going to make 2 bows. One for here and one for here. Okay? Alright, we have got 4 bows made. So now I want you to attach one at the back, and then one also up here at the top of the balloons. Okay? All right. How do we do? Throw a little white thread out of there. I think that's cute. What do you guys think? Can you see it? Look. That looks really cute. I really like that. Good job, guys. Look what you guys did. Aren't these adorable? Look at that. Between the bling and the bows and the buttons and the signs. Aren't they cute? The balloons, you guys did awesome. Just amazing. Look at this. Yeah, we got to trim those up. I'm not going to worry about those until we start sewing the rows together, and we'll trim all that excess up. Isn't that cute? And then look at that with the quilt hanging. You guys did such an amazing job. Be proud of yourself. This is amazing what we were able to do. And we're not done yet. We are not done yet. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to wrap it up for today. Because this video is pretty long now, but we're done with the embellishments. We've done the blinging. We are ready to work on the sashings. So the next video, which will come out next Sunday, we're going to be sewing these rows to the sashings that we made. Then we're going to be measuring the sides for the side sashings, and then we're going to be doing the borders. And then guess what? You're done. So we are almost there. Awesome job this week, guys. It is so stinking cute. I'm so excited for you. So stay tuned. Come back next week. Please, if you like this video, click like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell notifications. That way you'll be notified each time I upload a video so you won't miss a thing. So I hope to see you again next week here on Jolly Molly TV. Take care. Bye-bye.